As of early 2025, Warren Buffett's company owns more Treasury bills than the Federal Reserve, more than the actual Federal Reserve. $314 billion in short-term U.S. government debt, sitting in a single company's portfolio. And at Berkshire's 2024 annual shareholders meeting, Buffett called Treasury bills the safest investment there is. Here is the part that should give you pause. The average American has never owned a single one. Most Americans keep their short-term cash in one of three places: a regular savings account earning close to nothing, a high-yield savings account they found on a comparison website, or a CD they have to remember to renew every few months. Meanwhile, the most closely watched investor on the planet, a man who has been doing this for over 70 years, is parking hundreds of billions of dollars in a completely different category of asset. That gap is not accidental, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what T-bills are, how regular people can access them without buying them the way Buffett does, what the real tax advantage is that almost nobody explains clearly, and the 2022 data that shows exactly what these instruments do when everything else is falling apart. The problem with constantly chasing rates. Let's start with the honest version of the high-yield savings account situation. HYSAs are not bad. For someone building their first emergency fund, keeping $2,000 or $5,000 somewhere accessible and earning something, a high-yield savings account is a perfectly reasonable starting point. But here's what actually happens when you commit to one. The rate you signed up for is not the rate you'll have in 6 months. Banks adjust their HYSA rates constantly, sometimes monthly, based on the federal funds rate and their own business interests. The bank that offered 5.25% to attract deposits last year might be offering 4.1% today, and you might not have noticed. So, you have two choices. You accept whatever rate your current bank decides to give you, or you spend time every few months comparing rates, opening new accounts, transferring funds, waiting for transfers to clear, managing multiple banking relationships to capture a difference that might be 0.3% annually. Professional investors don't do this. Not because they don't care about yield, because there's a better system. What a Treasury bill actually is. A Treasury bill is a short-term loan to the U.S. government. You give the government your money. The government pays it back in anywhere from 4 weeks to 52 weeks with interest. That interest is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. For a corporate bond, you're lending to a company that could theoretically go bankrupt. For a high-yield savings account, you're depositing at a bank that could theoretically have problems. For FDIC insurance, you're covered up to $250,000 per depositor per institution. For a T-bill, you're lending directly to the U.S. federal government. The only scenario where you don't get paid back is one where the United States government itself defaults, which would mean the financial system has already collapsed in ways that make your savings account balance the least of your concerns. This is why Buffett said T-bills are the safest investment there is. This is why Berkshire keeps buying them every single week. And in August 2023 on CNBC, Buffett described exactly how he uses them. Berkshire bought $10 billion in U.S. Treasuries last Monday. We bought $10 billion in Treasuries this Monday, and the only question for next Monday is whether we will buy $10 billion in 3-month or 6-month. That's not a strategy. That's an autopilot. The problem with buying Treasury bills directly. Buying Treasury bills directly through TreasuryDirect.gov, the U.S. government's own website which anyone can use, is straightforward and completely free of broker fees. But when Buffett is moving $10 billion at a time, buying directly makes sense because even a tiny fee becomes millions of dollars at that scale. For most people, buying directly has a practical limitation. Treasury bills have fixed maturity dates. Once you buy a 3-month T-bill, that money is committed for 3 months. If you need access to your emergency fund before that T-bill matures, if your car breaks down or a medical bill shows up, Selling early is possible, but involves extra steps. There's a simpler solution, and it's why professional investors use ETFs. The T-bill ETF, what it does differently. A T-bill ETF is a fund that holds a constantly rolling portfolio of short-term U.S. Treasury bills. As bills mature, the fund reinvests automatically in new ones. You never have to do anything. No logging into TreasuryDirect, no deciding between 4-week or 13-week bills, no managing maturity dates. And because these ETFs trade on the stock exchange, just like any individual stock, you can buy and sell any day the market is open. Your emergency fund is not locked up for 3 months. It's accessible the same day you need it. SGOV, the iShares 0 to 3-month Treasury Bill ETF, is one of the most widely used examples in this category. Expense ratio 0.09%. That's $9 per year on a $10,000 investment. Vanguard launched their own version, VIBL, in February 2025. Expense ratio 0.06%. Both invest exclusively in short-term U.S. Treasury bills. Both pay monthly income. Both keep the portfolio constantly rolling without requiring anything from you. The tax advantage nobody explains. Here is the specific advantage that makes T-bill ETFs genuinely different from HYSAs for people in high-tax states, and this is verified from iShares' own documentation. Interest earned from U.S. Treasury securities is generally exempt from state and local income taxes. That's federal law. It applies to the underlying T-bills themselves, and it flows through to the ETF. In 2024, according to iShares' own published data, 97.53% of SGOV's income was exempt from state and local taxes. Compare that to a high-yield savings account. Every dollar of HYSA interest is taxed at both the federal and state level. If you live in California, state income tax rate up to 13.3%. If you live in New York, up to 10.9% state and city combined. If you live in New Jersey, up to 10.75%. On a $50,000 emergency fund earning 4%, that's $2,000 in interest per year. In an HYSA in California, you keep roughly $1,200 of that after federal and state taxes. In a T-bill ETF, because state taxes don't apply, you keep meaningfully more without changing your yield at all. That difference isn't visible on the rate comparison websites. It shows up quietly on your tax return. One important clarification: the federal tax treatment is the same. T-bill ETF income is taxed as ordinary income at the federal level, just like HYSA interest. The advantage is specifically at the state level. The 2022 stress test. This is the data point that tells you what these instruments actually do when markets get difficult. In 2022, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates at the fastest pace in 4 decades to fight inflation that had reached 9.1%. That year, the S&P 500 fell 18.1%. AGG, the iShares U.S. Aggregate Bond Fund, one of the most widely held bond funds, fell approximately 13%. People who thought bond funds were safe discovered that when interest rates rise sharply, bond fund prices fall. The longer the duration of the bonds in the fund, the harder the fall. SGOV, holding only short-term Treasury bills maturing in 90 days or less, posted a small gain of approximately 1.6% that year. Not a windfall, not exciting, but while retirement accounts were down 18%, while bond funds people called conservative were down 13%, the T-bill ETF went up. That is exactly what a parking spot for short-term cash is supposed to do.
One step further: ultra-short corporate bond ETFs. If you're willing to accept a very small amount of additional risk in exchange for a slightly higher yield, there's a category of funds that sit just above pure T-bill ETFs on the risk spectrum. These are ultra-short-term bond ETFs that hold not just government T-bills, but also high-quality, investment-grade corporate bonds, commercial paper, and similar short-duration debt. Examples in this category include JPST from JP Morgan, MINT from PIMCO, and PULS from PGIM. The trade-off is specific and worth understanding clearly. You give up the state tax exemption. These are not pure Treasury instruments, so their income is taxed at both the federal and state level. In exchange, you typically get a slightly higher yield, sometimes 0.1 to 0.3% more than a pure T-bill ETF. In 2022, when almost everything was falling, JPST and PULS were slightly negative, down about 1 to 1.5%. Not catastrophic, but they did move down. Pure T-bill ETFs did not. So the distinction is simple. If this money is your actual emergency fund, the money that cannot take any loss at all, the money you might need in 3 months if something unexpected happens, pure T-bill ETFs fit that role. If this is cash you're holding for 12 to 24 months, not your core emergency buffer but money waiting for a purpose, the ultra-short corporate bond funds are worth understanding. Who this actually makes sense for? Here's the honest part. If your emergency fund is $3,000 to $10,000, a well-chosen high-yield savings account is not a bad place to keep it. The tax difference on small amounts is minimal, the accessibility is good, the FDIC protection is in place. The T-bill ETF advantage becomes more meaningful as your cash balance grows. At $50,000, the state tax exemption starts producing numbers worth noticing. At $100,000, the difference between a high-yield savings account and a T-bill ETF in a high-tax state can represent thousands of dollars annually, not from a higher yield, but from avoiding a tax that was quietly applied to your HYSA interest. The other advantage that applies at any amount is the automation. You buy the ETF once, it rolls the T-bills automatically. You don't chase rates, you don't open new accounts, you don't set calendar reminders to renew CDs. The rate adjusts automatically as short-term interest rates move. You do nothing. That's what the professional version of cash management looks like.
The core point. Idle cash has a hidden cost. It doesn't show up as a line item on your statement. It doesn't announce itself. But inflation, even modest inflation, quietly erodes the purchasing power of money that isn't earning anything. The goal of short-term cash management is not to get rich. It's to make sure the money you're holding for near-term needs or emergencies isn't silently shrinking while it waits. T-bill ETFs and the ultra-short bond funds one step above them are how professional investors solve that problem. Not because they're complex, not because they require special access, but because they combine government-backed safety, daily liquidity, automatic rolling, and a state tax advantage that savings accounts simply don't have. Berkshire Hathaway now owns more Treasury bills than the Federal Reserve. That fact alone tells you something about where the people who think about this full-time have decided short-term cash belongs. If this kind of content, the actual mechanics behind how money works, is useful to you, subscribe. Because the tools that professional investors use are almost never as complicated as they seem. They're just not well explained.